I'll be speaking on preach Christ. Preach Christ. Philip was one of the few people that had the record that he preached Christ. It means that when Philip's message was summarized, the only word that could capture the entire message was Christ. There are some people, when you summarize, they can preach for 5 hours. But when you summarize the message in one word itself, when I was in Canada, I actually traveled to Congo. I actually went to Australia, but that's self. Preach Christ, preach Christ. If we summarize your message, I know you are a preacher, you must have been preaching for 30 years now. If we summarize your message from that 30 years till now, what word can we use to qualify it? Is it Christ or self? It is only the preaching of Christ that can save souls. If you preach yourself, souls will not be won, and you are also setting yourself up. Philip preached, and Philip preached, and the only word that could describe his message was Christ. If your own message is to be summarized in one word, what word will it have? What word will be the best way to summarize it? Is it self or Christ? Philip preached, Philip preached Christ because his message was centered on Christ. His message was pointing to Christ. The direction of your message will show what and who you are preaching. If your message is not centered on Christ, you are not preaching Christ. It doesn't matter the numbers of times you shout Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. No, you are not preaching Christ. The focus of your message will be defined by who and what you are preaching. I pray the Lord will help us to preach Christ and not self. In the name of Jesus. Don't tell us something about yourself. Tell us something about Jesus. The gospel is not composition on myself. It's composition on Christ. Tell us everything about Jesus. We don't need to even know your nationality. We don't need to know your age. Don't tell us how beautiful your wife or how handsome your husband is. Tell us about Christ. That's the gospel. Teach us about Christ. I pray the Lord will help us in the name of Jesus.